What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Noisy Business Podcast. Brayton, happy 2023.
Happy 2023, Sean. I am so glad to be here with you again. Seasons, greetings, and welcome everybody to the Noisy Business Podcast. We are, of course, another podcast that has two white guys just chewing the fat and giving their opinions on things that don't matter.
Exactly. The world needs more white people sharing their opinions.
Yeah.
Because, and I know a lot of people are going to freak out about that, but the fact is that not all white people believe the same thing and have the same life experiences or the same point of view, and therefore they don't have the same, ideas, beliefs. So we need to share our own because
we need a platform.
Yeah.
It's young white males are underrepresented in today's culture, so we just want to be able to contribute and give them a voice.
Especially,
you know what I mean?
Especially in the podcast medium. There's just a huge lacking of young white male voices that think they're funny that need to share their opinion. It's such a weird medium.
It's a conundrum, but
it is.
Anyhow, we started the new year. We're coming out a little bit late, but you know what? That happens,
Sometimes coming out late isn't a bad thing. Sometimes you're happy you waited to come out.
True.
Sometimes.
So, it is the new year. Maybe we'll start out, we'll talk about a little bit about Andrew Tate later, but let's catch up a little bit with you, Sean. The new year, it's a new time, a new year, new you. What kind of things are you wanting to do in your life? And maybe if it pertains to the podcast, if you think the audience would enjoy it.
Sure.
What are you planning on doing in this new year of our Lord 2023?
Great question, Brayton. Thank you. I'm so glad that you asked that. So now that 2022, another controversial year, is behind us, hopefully we're going to be moving on to bigger and better things in 2023. And of course, this podcast is one of those things. It's going to be more or less a priority for me moving forward this year. So a lot of my, I guess you could say, my goals and my resolutions for 2023 involve this podcast. Mm-hmm. And more or less, I think you encountered the same problem. What we're going to do with all the money we made from our podcast last year. Do you feel like you have the same issue? Our issue has always been how much podcash we have in reserves, but not really knowing how to spend it all. Right.
Because again, it's a rather an ethereal word and we don't know what it means.
And I don't even know
what
was that word you said?
Ethereal.
Ethereal.
Yes. It's the new mermaid.
Oh, is that the newest zodiac sign that they just added?
No, it's actually
if you're born in February or the beginning of March, you're an ethereal.
Yes. Yeah, that tracks.
I don't know how this bullshit works.
Anyhow, the main thing that what are we talking about?
We're talking about podcasts.
That's right.
The biggest thing, we've never really known what best to do. Should we invest the podcast back directly, all of it back into the podcast? Should we split it 50-50 and then we're left to our own devices? So last year we kind of pulled at the end of 2021, moving into 2022, we decided to more or less pull our podcast together, invested in the new studio space, invest in some property. Didn't go so hot. So this year we decided, you know what? Let's split it up. Let's go 50-50. You do what you want with your half. I'll do what I want with my half.
Yeah.
And so what did you do with your $4?
I got myself a nice Kit Kat.
Okay. No, what are
Monster size.
What are you going to do in 2023?
Okay,
the audience wants to know. It's a lot more than $4.
All right. I'm going to let everybody know that I am trying to, I'm going to maybe overextend myself a little bit, if you will, but my goals are pretty lofty. I'm here to end children's hunger.
Really?
Yes.
How, and you're going to do that with your podcast money? It's
correct.
What's your idea?
Oh, I wasn't all that, it's not really the general term children.
Okay.
It's more of the specific children mine.
Okay, so you're going to feed your children more food.
Yeah, well, not more food. It's just we do the podcast during dinner time, and they getting hungry.
Sure.
So my goal is to have them fed maybe before, or maybe give them a distraction during the podcast time, that then they will be ready to eat after.
Okay, so it sounds like your heart's in the right place. That is a huge humanitarian act, I think. So I think it's a tax write-off. And you're making you're making your kids happier?
I don't really care about their happiness. I'm just trying to make sure that all of the boxes are checked when it comes to them having their bellies full.
Sure.
You know?
That's super nice. Okay.
We'll worry about happiness later.
I mean, this isn't a competition.
What about you?
This isn't a competition or anything. It's like I'm not trying to like, level up or trying to, like push you down with what you're going to like very wisely do with your money and kind of like taking care of your family that way. Now, see what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
With my fat stacks, as it were. Mm-hmm. I want this podcast to push the limit of what a podcast actually could be. I want to change the definition of what a podcast is in 2023. I want to take it to new heights, new locations, not just bringing in guests. I want to make my guests host the show in a location that they didn't know that they were going to be part of a high level production.
Okay.
I think you know a little bit about my fascination and healthy obsession with tigers, right?
I am aware that you enjoy a tiger or two. Yes.
Right. I only eat Frosted Flakes in the morning. Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, you say they're great.
My favorite football team. Say it together. The Cincinnati Bengals. Well, see, I know, you know me so much, and that football equally as well.
True. I almost said to Bengals.
To Bengals. Yeah, that's a very funny way to say it. So I think what I want to do first in 2023 is bring this studio, mobilize it, put it in the Tiger Encounter at the San Diego Zoo. I sneak in, breaking a world record of being the first person to not only like kind of host a podcast with a tiger, but basically because I'm sneaking into his territory and the studio stuff is already there, the tiger will also be the first tiger to host a podcast.
So you want the tiger to host the podcast and you be the guest?
Yeah, I think that we could do a lot of good that way. I think it's going to get a lot of buzz.
It's going to get a lot of growls.
Do you think tigers Look, this is me like coming in, like I'm waving to the people. Hello. And then I say, thank you so much for joining us. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to step on your paws here, Mr. Tiger. This is your production, but obviously you don't speak English. So hey, hang on there, Bucka. So all the money today that we're going to be raising is actually going.
Hey!
What's that?
Hey, who let that guy in the tiger encounter?
Oh, I'm bringing awareness
Why is there a lot of equipment in there?
It's an endangered species.
Did
So
he set an entire podcast in there? Get the trank.
I think he's happy.
Get the trank.
No. He's not hostile. Hello. So
what do you do with your podcast?
So what kind of podcast is this? No, I mean, yeah, I think it's gonna raise awareness. It's gonna create a lot of buzz, and
awareness to what? Tigers or pod? What are we trying to do? Awareness for what?
Like, listen, hear me out. It's gonna create a lot of awareness of myself and how brave I am as a person and somebody that helps make podcasts. And does this have something to do with like the super hot girl that runs the tiger cages at the zoo? I don't know, maybe. But has Khaki ever looked as good as it does in her baggy shorts? No, it hasn't. So Tiger Lady,
so
if
Cleopatra,
you're out there,
call me back.
I don't know what her name is, but
you don't even know what her name is.
Well, no, because she's always like behind the cage or the fences, as it were.
You've let the proverbial cat out of the bag.
Wow, hey, that cat was that word proverbial? But I'm gonna show Cleopatra how much of proverbial I could be when she gets off work.
Oh no! So let me get this straight.
I'll tear that ass up.
Let me get this straight.
The cats.
You have been, shall we say, stalking your prey for the last year at the San Diego Zoo, because I know you got that annual pass.
First of all, it's called an annual pass. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
you always pronounce it weird.
I'm not going to say it. This is 2023. My other New Year's resolution is to stay away from low-hanging butt fruit jokes.
Okay.
It's my favorite kind of fruit.
Fair enough. But you've been, again, just stalking around the tiger exhibit, finding a lady in fat denim jeans.
No, she's not wearing denim. She's wearing the khaki, like the Steve Irwin outfit.
Sometimes they wear jeans.
Oh, well, she can get it if she wears the denim. So that's fine with me. So anyway, yeah, I've been walking around. I've been sleuthing. Yeah. I've been sleuthing
as they say,
around the zoo, and I just don't know a way to like break the ice. I don't know how to break the ice. So I'm just like, you know what? She's obviously very passionate about tigers. I'm very passionate about podcasts. I'm going to bring those two things together, and then, love will bloom from there.
Well, hopefully, if she's Cleopatra, if you're out there listening, just hit us up.
Or, okay, if that doesn't work out because you talk me out of it, let's go ahead and do something crazy, like be the first podcast to have a mermaid. Let's be the first podcast to have a mermaid as a guest.
You think mermaids exist?
Yeah, they do. But the thing is, like, they don't come on land because they don't have legs.
Oh, so you want to take our electrical equipment to the water and host one? We could immediately at shore.
We could do that, but here's what I'm thinking. Are you familiar with the story Little Mermaid?
I'm familiar.
Look,
I was born in the 89s.
So you grew up with this movie.
I do know.
So you were probably just as obsessed with, deaf mermaids as I am.
Deaf mermaids?
Well, is she deaf or is she
pretty
mute?
sure she was mute.
She was singing and she got her voice taken away.
That's right.
So she
became a mute.
Right.
I don't think anyone would want. I think the movie would be a lot different if
she washes up on shore.
If she was a deaf.
Point Alec. Do you like my wings? How old is she supposed to be?
I'm trying to find I'm trying to find a beautiful woman with the voice of silver. Oh, yeah, with me.
Your deaf voice sounds stereotypically offensive.
Maybe that is it. The whole thing is offensive, and we apologize to the mute community.
Yeah, we have a lot of work to do before we have somebody like a mermaid or a tiger on as a guest on their show, I suppose.
To round out the 2023 goals for the year, and maybe we'll interview tigers, maybe we'll interview mermaids, but I agree, let's push the limit. And my last goal will be to break Andrew Tate out of prison. Probably.
Really?
It's probably going to so here's what it is.
Catch me up to speed because I'm not super familiar.
He has now been detained, and it has been finalized that he cannot leave Romania right now.
Okay.
Andrew Tate, the massive internet sensation that was the alpha male misogynist, quote unquote, to particular groups, whatever you like.
Okay.
So he got into it with the world-renowned and stunning and brave Greta Thunberg on the Twitters.
Right.
And this has nothing to do with the other, but it's a fun little thing,
Sure.
So they got into it on Twitter, and shortly after, and this is why you don't mess with big global elites. Just a day or so after,
he went after her on Twitter.
Yeah, he went after. He just kind of mixed it up with her.
Shortly after,
he ordered some pizzas, and shortly after that, he's arrested.
See, I hate it when that happens.
Trafficking.
See, every time. See, a lot of people have issues whenever they order pizza. Bad things happen.
It's true.
A lot of people just have real spicy grumpers that wake them up in the middle of the night. Okay, he got caught for human trafficking, which we all know is allegedly, yeah.
He is being detained for the assumption
accusation.
He's blatantly said it, but
he's buying and selling and trading women and kids.
He basically runs an OnlyFans is what it is. The question is whether or not he is tricking them to do so and holding them against their will in order to produce.
And whether or not he's using our promo code Noisy Boys, and you can get 15% off your January subscription of Andrew Tate's OnlyFans.
Just alpha noise.
Yeah.
So, he was recently hospitalized, and now
what happened to him?
Now it's been he probably just got a tummy ache. And he's like,
do you think
court? No. My tummy's upset.
Do you think his wife hit him back?
He doesn't. Wait, actually, I think he does have a wife. He might have several wives. He's a Muslim now. He used to be a Christian, but then he's like, oh, they don't like hitting girls in that religion anymore. So then he now became a Muslim, and he's like, this kind of fits more my vibe.
Wow.
And so there's he's just a fiery personality, shall we say.
It sounds like he needs to find his chill. It sounds like he's like redirecting a lot of negative energy on other people for problems that are, like his own issues.
I mean, he's just got classic one-liners like women shouldn't drive.
Okay. See,
am I about to turn you on? He's also like, go on.
I think most people shouldn't be driving, if I'm being totally fair.
That is very
I think
fair.
most people are bad drivers.
True. So he was hospitalized. And the main thing that he kind of goes off of or at least that he says, what his mission is to break people out of the matrix. So he was a professional kickboxer, runs casinos in Romania, and is now trying to tell people how they can break free from the matrix because you are mentally entrapped in this
synthetic world. He's actually, this is a serious question.
This is, do you know what the red pill community is?
I know that there's a blue pill and a red pill. I don't remember which one's which.
So the Matrix is based off of seeing the truth or staying in the Matrix.
Okay.
And you take the red pill to see the truth of what the world is, and the blue pills to continue on in
living in bliss, but you're okay with it.
Yeah. So for him, he's, you talk about the mainstream media, global elites, the rich, the people who want the status quo to keep you boxed up in your everyday life. Mm-hmm. You are blue pilled, and you are you do not see the world for what it is, and he is pushing back against global elitism, telling people to be empowered, be self-sufficient, don't be dependent on the government, like all this other stuff. And so him going after like basically famous people and being very salacious in doing so is considered kind of like red pill, alpha male, kind of like he's really kind of sticking it to the man. And then when things get pushed back against him, where you accidentally human traffic a couple of ladies, all of a sudden he's saying that the Matrix has attacked him, but he will survive.
Wow.
And
so this guy likes the attention. It seems like he doesn't mind the spotlight. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So in 2022, in about August, he was the most searched person on the internet.
Okay.
Like,
because nobody knew who he was.
He blew up.
Right?
Well, he did a creative kind of marketing ploy in where he would affiliate market people who were part of his kind of hustlers program. He would tell them to like, hey, if you cut up clips and share clips and get people to sign up on my coaching website that gets you out of the matrix and all that, get rich, get women, get cars, get all that stuff, like the affluent lifestyle. If you get those people onto the platform, you'll get like a cut. So like an affiliate program kind of thing. So people who were not Andrew Tate would share Andrew Tate clips, and so he was all over TikTok, and he would blow up. And he does, I would say, very, very, very dickish behavior where he would just try and be salacious for being like
get that
like
fast
this is what
fast attention on
exactly. Like I believe I saw a video of him parking in a handicap parking spot and saying like, it's way faster for me to do my stuff. My Bugatti, park it here rather than a handicapped person, and because my time is worth more or whatnot, and
his time is worth more than other people's time,
basically, or whatnot. It's like I'm gonna get in and out faster than a person would over there, so my time is worth more. So this is a justification for why I can do this. And so he
has to justify
whatever. Like,
but he's just getting attention. He's just making content that gets people's attention.
Exactly. And so a lot of his rhetoric in today's terms talking about how men should be providing, be the best version of yourself. Like some of those very self-empowering things he does also say, and kind of the traditional sense of women have a certain role that complements men, and men have a certain role that complements women, and these dynamics. Now he says those kind of principles in a very internet against sensational way, so that it seems that he is a misogynist, a sexist, and like all these things. But he's kind of saying things that a lot of people on like almost like a conservative base would actually how they view the world. It's just they wouldn't say it in those terminologies, but they're like, no, I get what he's saying. Like I don't necessarily agree with how he's saying it.
So he's picking up a lot of haters along the way.
Exactly.
Sounds
It doesn't
like rightfully
matter.
so.
He has blown up through his rhetoric and is now kind of in that zeitgeist. And so he's talking about how now that he's gotten to a point that is like the tall poppy, that the Matrix is now pushing back and trying to hold him down by having these false allegations and all this stuff. And I'm just here to say that I think the main problem of Andrew Tate is that his references are out of date.
You think his references are out of date?
Yeah, The Matrix came out in, I believe, 1999.
99, yeah. Keanu Reeves, 99.
And like nobody's watching that. Like it's that's so 20 years ago plus 20 plus years ago.
Well, I mean, they had that like sequel came out that people still watch or whatever.
Sure.
But
like
is
even
it
if he
The
updated
Matrix?
it, it wouldn't be great. So I think.
So what do you think he
going
needs to do?
forward? And I'm sure if all of this stuff is alleged and gets is actually not true, and he's not trafficking women, which I am hoping for. I don't want that to happen. If that is the case, and he needs to continue to rebrand and evolve, what he needs to do is to update his references to a little bit more relatable, a little bit more in the zeitgeist of what is right now. He should start referencing Avatar to The Way of Water.
Sure.
Because you can't go Avatar 1, that's also 20 years ago. That's a very old reference. So he needs to go specifically The Way of Water and be like, listen, the Na'vi, they had it right. Dreads are cool.
Okay.
And he don't be unaffected when your woman looks at you and goes.
Do you think he should start painting himself blue, or would you be surprised if he just started painting himself blue and hanging out at like pristine beaches?
No, he doesn't need to go that far. He just needs to reference the movie.
Gotcha.
And because here's the thing, and this would be the best thing for Andrew Tate to do, also to kind of steal back what people would kind of say is elitism of James Cameron spending $1 billion to make a movie about how we need to protect the earth and kind of that environmentalist thing. If he is now taking over that cultural that subculture of, no, that's my favorite movie too, but because it's a patriarchal tribe, they have chiefs, not little chief ladies. If you realize in the beginning of the movie that what's the guy's name? Jake Sully, that he had to make a decision and moved his entire family because he had to protect them, and that's why the whole system is, they didn't care about the sky people. You shouldn't have to care about the sky people. The sky people are holding you down.
Okay.
And that's why you need to invade the waters and maybe like finger bang a couple of whales. And this is not refined, but
right. It's going because James Cameron's going to be making more of these movies allegedly. And I don't think they're going to be making a Matrix movie again anytime soon. He's got to piggyback on other people's success, because it sounds like that's what he's going to have to do, because he's not really doing anything original, creating anything by himself. Well, he's got to take shortcuts the way he's been doing his whole life. One quick question. I don't know what this guy looks like, and I don't want to, dong shame anybody for having a really, a shrimp dink here, but I'm going to ask you a question, and I really don't know.
Yeah.
Is this guy bald?
He is a very bald man.
This is all just very much reactionary to losing your hair. Listen, guys, a lot of guys struggle with hair loss. You don't need to be going around trying to restructure the format of society and the places of men and women and what is right and what is wrong and blah, 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 blah. Listen, you can't blame other people for losing your hair. It's just a natural part of some people's lives.
Wait, you think he's having this whole situation of the Andrew Tate personality
Because he lost his hair.
is just a backlash because women don't typically find bald men attractive?
Because bald people get made fun of. They get cue ball, Lex Luthor. Just, there's...
Man, if only you heard about hymns. Well, God, no, just kidding. They are not a sponsor. So.
No, we're gonna get them in 2023 though.
We're gonna get them, especially with content like this.
Yeah. But anyway, back. Yeah.
So kind of back over to what I think Andrew Tate should do by procuring the movie, not necessarily buying the movie, but using that as a reference point of how he views the world. Through Avatar, since James Cameron has already come out saying that masculinity is toxic, this is where Andrew Tate can be like, I don't think so. I love your movie, by the way. And I absolutely thought it was fantastic when all those buff dudes speared that whale. Like, wait, what? Oh, yeah, no. I loved it when the humans took over and got that precious brain goop that makes you live forever. That's ingenuity. They were solving problems.
Yeah.
They didn't ask for permission. They just went and did it.
Exactly.
And that is exactly what we need to as men is get that brain goop.
Yep.
Figuratively
and maybe literally. I don't know everybody's brain goop could be different.
Sure.
But you got to find out what your brain group is. I'm glad that you brought up.
What are some other misogynist kind of like tropes within the Avatar movie that Andrew Tate could probably also?
I don't know. I already forgot the entire movie.
There was a father-son relationship where the guy died and then became an avatar and then was like, yo, you my son?
Was there?
Yeah.
I forgot. I saw this movie.
Remember the half-naked kid was...
Tarzan.
Yeah, Tarzan in the movie was the general's offspring.
Okay. That's pretty straightforward. Sounds
okay.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now can you make some like masculine connections about passing the torch down and make it funny?
Yeah, of course. Now here's the thing. The phrase pass the torch, father to son, as it were, the phrase passing the torch, literally came from passing the torch. And all men love playing with fire.
What torch?
This is a fact.
When did this originate?
When?
Yeah.
Well, the phrase or the first time somebody did it. I don't know the first time somebody did it, but according to Wikipedia, the phrase...
You think it was just... Hey, you know what this is?
Goes back to ancient Greece.
We're passing the torch right now.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I know. Just give it to me.
This is
just
badass.
Hand it over. No. There's going to be a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
Take the torch. I'm passing it to you. I know, but why are you making a big to-do about it?
Here's the thing that's wrong with today's society with that phrase in mind.
Not enough torches.
No. Nowadays, people are like, I'm going to pass the torch. And it sounds like it has the connotation of the adult handing it to like the next generation or the son in this scenario, I'm passing the torch to you. But back in the day, it was more like, I want the torch to be passed to me because I want to play with fire, whatever it is.
Oh,
the kids wanted the torches.
Think it was
and kids aren't stepping, young adults. We have we've got a lot of stuff to do. We've got a lot of swamps to drain, and we got a lot of people like Andrew Tate that we just have to, deal with.
Yeah, that's probably, that's actually the perfect way to describe exactly what today's internet culture is. It's like, there's just people that pop up on your news feed. You're like, I've never heard of this person, but now they're everywhere. And now this is just a person that I have to deal with.
Yeah.
You're this like,
is what we've inherited.
You're now in my life, like pre 2022. I had never heard of a guy named Andrew Tate. Mm-hmm. And there's probably a lot of people that still haven't heard of Andrew Tate that aren't really in like the internet. But for our age group that like finds most of our news online and whatnot, all of a sudden there's a dude that is popping off for no reason other than being like he's
sounds like
saying things.
Seems like an
and
asshole.
now I have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I have to deal with the outcry of like he's good, no, he's bad.
It's just like grade school. And when there's the annoying kid, you just say, just ignore him and he'll go away. And eventually he will. Is it canceling? No, because I don't know if he's actually done anything. If he is involved in sex trafficking, something wrong with kids, yep, lock him up. Well, he already lives in Romania already. Strike one for me right there because vampires are from Romania. So, but Andy's bald. Sorry, we already have one Vin Diesel. So like, so yeah, so if if you diddle kids, for me, that's strike 3. You shouldn't, because what do we say on this podcast? We have one rule. Don't diddle kids.
That's the one rule. When we were coming up with rules, that was the easy one.
The first one.
I don't know why we didn't come up with more.
Because basically anything else you do could lead to that if it's that bad. So rule number 1, just I don't know what we're talking about anyway.
I know.
Listen. You brought up a really good topic that we need to kind of circle back on and expand on because it's something I'm really excited about.
Sure.
So you brought up Avatar 2.
Yes. Way of Water.
And you also brought up The Matrix, something that happened, a huge phenomenon in the 90s.
Yes.
And there's 2 things that also coincided with that I just couldn't help but point out. And I had an epiphany just now.
Okay.
That Brendan Fraser was huge deal in the 90s, right? Action star. Everybody loved him. Chiseled, charisma, one of the decade's best or more popular actors, right? And I just think it's amazing that he made a comeback and he made an appearance in Avatar 2. And I didn't even know that was him the whole time. Everybody was talking about Brendan Fraser, the whale. And I was like, I saw that movie in theaters. I didn't know that was Brendan Fraser. I just now realized.
Brendan Fraser, the whale. He's going to get an Oscar.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I thought that was all CG, but turns out that was just Brendan Fraser. I imagine that they filmed it in like the tub where they did Titanic and just kind of just like floating around. Honestly, I thought that was a cartoon whale. Good job, Brendan.
Those Brendan Fraserisms where the eye, where he would stick it out of the water and then just
and then they had to do the subtitles because obviously we would have recognized his voice if he would have actually spoken. Sure. And I was like, this is a stupid part of the movie. Like, what a waste. Like, this is cheesy. And then of course the whale's going to come back. But then, that guy for his performance
when he was flopping around on that ship
as the whale. Yeah,
man. Yeah, it's true. I didn't even realize
his body was just shit. It's true. We can. His body did go to shit. They were like, he gained a lot of weight for this role and all the prosthetics. I was like,
I thought that was CGI.
I thought it was CGI. Turns out he's been
just Brendan Fraser.
He's been living in the water for the past 20 years. And
that's where
preparing for this role, putting on mass.
James Cameron locked him in.
Locked him in early, yeah. I never knew, but like everybody was buzzing about Brendan Fraser's big comeback, and I was like, I think it's a humpback, but why did that make you laugh? I'm embarrassed for you.
That's bad.
Anyway, Brendan Fraser, big deal. He's the whale.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser is the whale, and I didn't even recognize. Check IMDb, guys.
Check it out.
Put that on Wikipedia.
Exactly.
If you need to. Wow. Because I don't think he's credited.
I don't think so either. He's probably ashamed because he's trying to like trim down and stuff, and the hair loss. You could tell when the shots were close, his hair was thinning.
Yeah, that's what happens when you spend 15 years in the water.
It just destroys your hairline. Next thing you know, we're gonna have another Andrew Tate on our hands.
He just he swims up to James Cameron. Is this the way of water?
He's like, well, it's not George of the Jungle 2. He was like, even though
I've been eating a lot of kelp in here.
Yeah. Wow. But honestly, a lot of actors say that they're method actors, but Brendan Fraser, for over 20 years, lived in the water preparing for the role as the whale in Avatar 2.
Coincidentally, also eating a lot of rolls.
Wow. This is crazy because, like, obviously you can't make a movie just about Brendan Fraser being fat. Like, correct. that would be the dumbest thing ever made. Like, no one would care about that. But if there was like a mostly CGI character with like prosthetics or whatever, like a good mixture of both, and with really great animation, wove it into a really cool story like James Cameron's Avatar universe, you would never know that was Brendan Fraser.
Absolutely.
And Yeah. And I think a lot of people are going to learn about this for the first time because I just thought about it just now on this podcast. I think that's truly amazing.
And actually they had to swap out the original wife of the main character.
Really?
The
Zoe Saldana.
The Navi. Zoe
Saldana.
I think so. Yeah. Okay. They had to swap her out.
For what?
Who was playing her in the latest one?
In the third one? That's not out yet?
No, this one. Yeah.
That wasn't Zoe Saldana?
No.
Who was that?
Danny DeVito.
Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito. I'm just kidding, guys. I was trying to play off
his midsection was looking slim. Honestly,
CGI's amazing.
Small titties, perky. Plus. So anyway, all that being said, there's a lot of cool things to look forward to in 2023. I heard that there's another movie that's in the talks of being rebooted because that's kind of what a lot of Hollywood companies are doing these days. Big studios are just rebooting movies from the 80s and 90s. And what's a huge movie that nobody has rebooted that was a very popular series? Free Willy. Now, we just saw how amazing Brendan Fraser did as one whale. I think we let him go back into the water and, reprise the role in the reboot of Free Willy.
I don't think we can, though.
But
in this climate?
But we'll get Timothée Chalamet as the kid.
And not just this climate, it's cold in the Pacific Ocean.
Right. Yeah, I know you're talking about the cold water.
Yeah. But in this political climate...
He already did it. What are you talking about? No. It's going to be a lot of CG. He needs work. Brendan Fraser needs a job.
I believe if Brendan Fraser actually does go in as a killer whale, it's technically blackface.
No. No, because he's not pretending to be a person. Listen, human racism is totally different than whale racism.
You think so?
Yeah, well, because we're way ahead of the whales as far as social justice movements.
Be careful, Sean, because you could be the next Andrew Tate with talks
with what
like
I'm about to say about whales.
Yeah,
have you ever seen a fucking whale at a Black Lives Matter rally? I haven't.
That's true, actually. The awareness.
Let's go back and watch the freaking marches on Washington in the 1960s. Martin Luther King Jr.
Narrow whale and stuff.
When we see the camera angle panning over Washington, D.C., Washington monuments in the background, we see all those people in black and white footage. Did you see a single whale there? Not one. Whales are racist as fuck.
Coincidence? Where's your allyship? Huh, whales?
Where's the accountability?
Where's the accountability? Where's your signs?
They think that they're in their own, they're like, well, we live in 75% of the world, so this is only 25% of the world's problem.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Exactly.
You don't think it affects you guys? Whales?
You think racism stops at the shore? No. It goes deeper than that.
The deepest oceans.
All the way to Marianas Trench.
Dang.
Where they don't let white whales and black whales use the same restrooms or restaurants. Could you imagine that? In this day and age?
That's crazy.
So anyway, let's get Brendan Fraser. Let's let this.
And that's why we need to bring more awareness to that by getting Brendan Fraser.
It's not just a shot-by-shot remake. We're going to use it to end racism and address how racist fucking whales are.
Do you think if we have time, they could do some reshoots on the new Little Mermaid movie to where she's like talking to a whale, explaining them why they have whale privilege?
See, I understand where Disney went because they didn't cast a little white girl. They casted somebody that was not white, right? They ended up,
I think, like semi-Hispanic. I don't know.
I'm not sure. I just know that a lot of people were pissed off, and I didn't even click on the articles because I was like, it's the Disney remakes, whatever. They're going to do it. But maybe they had their best foot forward, like they put the best foot forward in the idea, in the issue of marine racism. So,
they just want to.
So they kind of like, they're opening the door, but I want Brendan Fraser in his whale suit to smash that door down. And I want to see Brendan Fraser pop over the little like jetty thing and go swim his way to freedom.
It's beautiful.
Exactly.
It's beautiful.
We're going to tackle animal rights. We're going to tackle racism. And we're also going to be tackling Brendan Fraser not having enough starring roles. It's going to be amazing. And we already know he's a pretty convincing whale. Like there's a couple of times where we're like, this isn't a whale. But then you're like, well, no, it's true. He's going to win an Oscar for it. Everybe's talking about it. He's going to win an Oscar for being the whale.
Listen, for his performance as a whale.
Right.
Yeah. That's true, and I don't think there's any better way to end the podcast
because that's
right now.
Because
with
really,
hope, with hope for the reignition of Brendan Fraser's
as Free Willy,
career.
because you can't have, and maybe we call it Free Willy, but I think you just need to reboot it and just keep it simple. And I think we need to start a movie called The Whale,
or maybe just like Freedom Willy.
Freedom Willy. Yeah, I have a whale with a dream. What about that? You know, yeah.
A whale with a dream. Yeah.
So I Hollywood, if you guys are listening to this,
we got a couple of drafts for you. Mm-hmm. Couple of storyboards. All of it being Brendan Fraser based.
Exactly. I mean, besides all that, I mean, now I have a lot more on my plate for 2023. But I mean, I want this to happen. Hashtag
Free Fraser.
Free Fraser. Yeah, Brendan Fraser. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
I have a lot to think about.
Guys, let your voice be known in this crazy time of 2023. As we talked, there's been some controversial figures, but there is always hope that you too can eventually be a whale. Just like
that's
Brendan
what you
Fraser.
identify as. Right.
Or act like, or pretend like, because that's what Brendan Fraser did.
No. I like that you're trying to like make a moral stance and, you know, deliver a message at the end of this podcast. Sure. It's true that, you know what, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And
it's true.
And if you think of, you know, let's just say a half-assed movie idea, Brendan Fraser will probably read the script. He won't necessarily take it, but he'll read it.
He needs to work.
Yeah.
And he's kind of wet. So he'd like to be inside, and that's how you can do it. But
until then, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, our first episode of 2023 of the Noisy Business Podcast.
And, as we always say, we will do this more consistently, and we will get better at it. We gotta take some time to get just back in the swing of things, back in the groove, it takes a while.
We get our podcast, we count it manually. It takes time. We get distracted.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll hopefully see you guys next week.
Yeah. Are you gonna do the outro music?
I wanted to do something different for 2023. But
yeah, we're just gonna let it hang. And as always, guys, stay noisy.